Hey everyone, Blake Lovell, Southeastern 14, back here with more SEC basketball roster movement, which, as we always say, never stops, and neither does the must bus. You knew where I was going with that. It's rolling once again into the transfer portal as Arkansas gets a big addition, I think, to their roster for next season, and that is Keyon Menifield coming from Washington to Fayetteville to join the Hogs. I think someone who is still, I mean, he's a freshman last year, right? So you still got someone that has several years of eligibility left in the college game, and a 6'1" guard played the point last year for Washington. Can play, I think, multiple guard spots, but Alabama, Tennessee, I think, were also in his final 6'7", something like that. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with the list, but I think they were certainly in the mix. And you're talking about, look, a player that Pac-12 all freshman last year. Again, someone who I think just sort of showed his playmaking ability at the guard position. Averaged 10 points a game, 3 assists, 2.9 rebounds. Played about 29 minutes a game, so getting a lot of valuable experience as a freshman in the Pac-12 in a power conference now makes that jump elsewhere. And I think if you're looking at this from Arkansas' standpoint, what do you need to know, right? Like that's the question. If you haven't seen him play, and obviously as someone who covers the SEC, you guys know this. I didn't get a chance to watch every Pac-12 game last season, but I can tell you, going through, looking at some of the highlights before I recorded this video, went back, watched some of his stuff. I think he's someone that clearly, you talk about, again, a freshman. Can he make that jump as a sophomore? I think the potential is certainly there for this to be, one of those typical SEC playmakers at the guard position. Like we talk about that, right? And we sort of, Chris and I mentioned this past season, it was a really good year for big men in the SEC, and you had a lot of, I think, really talented big men, and had teams that could run their offense through that. But as we always say, everything still starts with the guards, and in this league, that's just the way it works. And so you have a lot of good guards that can help the big men be able to have those kind of seasons. And I think Menifield is one of those guys that you can definitely tell he can score, but he can also make plays for others. And one of the things I wrote down in my notes for him is, the speed. I think just having the speed and quickness to be able to play in the SEC. We always talk about making that jump. And again, this is a little bit different because we're not talking about a guy who necessarily is making a jump from a low major or mid major to the SEC. We always say transferring up, it's hard to get a good feel sometimes. Even if you see the talent, it's how is it going to translate into playing, the grind, the physicality of the SEC. And I think that's always something that can be an adjustment, and it may still be for guys that come from power conferences. But having the quickness and the speed that I think he has with the ball, without the ball, I think that is something that will lend itself very well, kind of in this transition to Arkansas. And one of the things too I wrote down is just, I feel like if you watch him again, some of the highlights, it's constant movement. Like again, that's where I think he uses his quickness quite a bit, the energy and just the movement with the ball. I think it's always good to have the ball moving, right? And that's, you'll hear coaches say that, just to be able to again keep the defense kind of on its toes. And he feels like the kind of player with the ball in his hands that can do that. Just again with the speed that he has off the dribble, those kind of things. So I thought that was really something that, if you're looking at it from Arkansas standpoint, what are some things that are going to stand out? I feel like he is someone that certainly has those attributes to be able to really blend right in with what they're going to do next season. And obviously, Arkansas fans already looking ahead. We know, looking at the roster, we've obviously already talked about Trevor Brazil coming back, a significant one there. And when you look at the way the rest of the roster is kind of shaping up and the rest of the lineup, I think you can definitely see someone like Minifield being able to fit in really well, and gives them, again, someone who can just make plays with the ball in their hands. And I feel like that's exactly what he'll be able to do next season for the Hogs. So, as always, I think you you look at Eric Musselman and what he's done in the transfer portal. He's just, we've said it from the start, right? You go back to Nevada, all that. He is one of the first guys that really, I think, had a very clear idea of how to work the portal and to be able to find exactly what he needed, to have success. And again, we're talking about a team now that's made it to at least the Sweet 16 for 3 straight seasons under Muss. And, his ability to construct the roster, I think you give him the benefit of the doubt at this point. There will always be people that wonder, okay, is it the fit? Is this guy going to be able to, translate here? Can he take the jump? All those questions that are asked about a lot of different transfers, no matter who it is. I just think you you sort of give Muss and his staff credit to this point because certainly more often than not, they understand, I think, exactly what they need to be successful and to get a player like this that, as we said, a couple other SEC schools, top tier SEC schools, also interested in. I just think it's a huge addition for the Hogs, and I think again you're banking on that freshman to sophomore jump for Menifield and just his ability. I think like we said, I think this is a league you hear us say it all the time, just the guard driven element of this league now, and teams that are playing at a faster pace. Not everyone, we know it's not everyone, but you certainly are seeing that. And Arkansas, we know, is one of those teams that certainly can do that. And I think that he will be able to give them a really nice boost, I think, at the guard position. And I'm excited just to see, what kind of that mix looks like for them at guard, because we know, this year it was kind of the expectation was that it was going to be built around, Nick Smith, Anthony Black, Devo Davis, and, you obviously throw Ricky Council in there too, I think. But, next year when you start to look ahead, I think this is one that, yeah, he's someone that will fit, I think, in the rotation and how they want to play. So pretty excited to see what the Hawks can do next season with Minifield added to the mix. And as always, we've got you covered here at Southeastern 14, all the SEC basketball roster movement in the offseason. Some we will do like this in sort of an individual video. Others we will kind of group in to do that. I'll have another one coming up actually that will look at some other roster movement going on around the SEC. But a big pickup for the Hogs. And this is one that, once again, I think you will see Arkansas yet again projected as one of the top teams in the SEC next season. And we will have you covered here at Southeastern 14. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. That helps us out. We appreciate all your support of our coverage, SEC basketball, baseball, football. We've got it all. So we appreciate you guys as always. And again, be sure to hit that subscribe button. A lot more stuff on the way here in SEC basketball this offseason. So appreciate you guys as always, and we'll talk to you again here soon at Southeastern 14.